a literacy specialist, one of the questions I get asked over and over again comes from parents, and they wonder, if I work with my child at home on their reading skills, or if I teach them how to read before they go to kindergarten, won't they be too smart for school? Won't they be bored in class since they'll already know how to read or they'll already know their letters? So shouldn't I not work with my child at home because that's what school is for? I can't tell you how many times I've seen this question come up, especially online, and parents are worried that if they work with their kids at home or if they teach them how to read early, that their child is going to be bored in school or too smart for school. So in today's video, I want to talk about this concern. I want to maybe reframe it a little bit. I want to share my opinions on this topic, and hopefully it will give you some good food for thought. So if you are concerned about this, maybe this video will give you a different way to look at it, hopefully. If you're not sure who I am, my name is Erin. I'm from littleslovelearning.com. I'm a former teacher, and I'm also a tutor and a sub, and I spend my days teaching parents and other teachers how to teach little ones to read correctly and effectively based on the science of reading. So you could say this question is very relevant to what I do, since I am always working with parents to help them teach their child to read at home. So this question really hits home for me. So before we dive in, I want to actually have you think about, what does a child need to learn in reading in kindergarten? It's a lot. If you have not taken the time to dig into your state's standards or your district's standards for kindergarten, there are a lot of literacy skills that your little one is going to learn. Because not every parent has the time to dig into those standards, I have actually created a free resource for you that may be helpful in this situation. These are the kindergarten literacy goals for the end of the year that we want kindergartners to be able to know and do by the end of kindergarten. This is a compilation from sources such as my state standards, our district standards, and then also trainings that I have been through, which include orton-gillingham training, letters training, and also using the UFly curriculum for phonics. So I compiled a lot of different resources together, and I pulled out the most important skills that your child needs to know for literacy. Now, back up for just 1 second. This sheet just talks about helping your child become a reader, coming from a non-reader to a reader with their word recognition skills. So there are a lot more skills that go into literacy, including reading comprehension, including more details about vocabulary development, writing development, spelling development. And this is just touching the surface of mostly phonemic awareness, phonics, and some spelling in there as well. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about when I say phonemic awareness, phonics, or spelling, I will link down below other videos that I have done on those topics so you can get an idea of what I mean by those. But this sheet is actually super helpful because it's just 1 page, and you can go through and you can read what a kindergartner is actually being asked to learn in kindergarten. So you might think, oh, if I teach my child their letters and sounds, or if I work on them with them on reading at home, I'm going to have taught them the entire kindergarten curriculum for the whole year, and they're going to be too smart for school and they're going to be bored. Well, 99.99% of the time, the work that you're doing with them is just setting the foundation for what they're going to learn in kindergarten, and then it's going to build and build until they can do all of these skills. So definitely grab this freebie. I will leave a link down below so that you can sign up for it so you can read through it. And maybe that's all you need to get your concerns out of your head, because you're like, oh, well, actually my child doesn't know all of this. So even if I do work with them at home, I am not doing too much. They still have plenty to learn in kindergarten. So that might actually help your fears a little bit. So go grab this free download. And now let's dive into the other reasons why I think you don't need to be concerned about your child being too smart for kindergarten. So if you choose to work with your child at home on reading, I don't think you should be worried about them being too smart for kindergarten. And here's the first reason why. Literacy class in kindergarten is usually a block of time, a short block of time, out of their whole entire day. So every school sets it up differently, every teacher sets it up differently, but let's say your child has a literacy block of maybe an hour to an hour and a half, And in that time, they are learning phonics and phonemic awareness and how to spell and reading comprehension and all of the skills that go into literacy. And that is such a short portion of their day because the rest of the day, they have so many other skills to learn in math, in science, in social studies. Hopefully your school has extra programs like arts, computers, PE, music, not to mention all of the social skills that your child is learning in kindergarten. How to share and take turns, how to raise their hand to answer a question so they're not blurting out, how to share the teacher's attention and the space and the supplies, how to use a glue stick, how do you cut with scissors. There are just so many other skills that go into a kindergartner learning and progressing that literacy piece, although I think the most important piece or one of the most important pieces, it's a huge, huge piece, it doesn't take up the whole day. So if your child goes to school and they already know their letters and their sounds and they're able to write their name, it's not as if there's nothing new that they're going to learn for the whole rest of the day or the whole rest of the year. Literacy is one component of a kindergarten curriculum, not the only component, and there's so many other skills they're going to learn. So don't think that if your child knows how to read or has the foundation for reading set, that there's nothing else they're going to learn, because that's just not true. Now let's talk more about that literacy block where your child is learning literacy skills, maybe an hour and a half. It could be up to 2 hours a day. But in that block, your child's teacher is not just standing in front of the room teaching a whole group lesson for the whole, let's say, 2 hours. So if your child already knows the information, they're sitting there for 2 hours and they're like bored because, oh, I already know this information. That's not how a kindergarten teacher will set up their classroom. Here's one example of what they might do. They might have a whole group lesson on phonics, and it might be only 15 minutes long. So let's say they're doing a whole group lesson on the sound for short vowel A, and they're talking about the sound and the letter formation and the letter that's used to spell that sound, and maybe they're doing some keywords, phonemic awareness with that sound. Maybe that takes 15 minutes. Let's say your child already knows that information. They are going to feel so confident and so proud and be able to answer those questions because they know that information. But that's only maybe 15 minutes. Then your child's teacher, depending on how they set up their literacy block, they might start doing small group activities. So your child might be grouped with other students in the class who also have that strong foundation, who maybe already know short vowel A or who know how to read. So when they are rotating around to different activities, they are with peers that are at a more similar level that they are. And when they're working in small group with the teacher, that teacher is differentiating, meaning she's choosing activities for that group that go along with their academic skills. So when your child in small group goes to that teacher, they are not going to be practicing the sound for short vowel A and the letter for short vowel A. They might already be practicing reading, or they may already be practicing CVC words or more advanced phonics skills, because that is a teacher's job. A teacher's job is to teach the state standards, make sure every child has access to those state standards, and then to start differentiating, either challenging students who need the challenge or intervening and working with students who need some of that intervention. And so don't fear having your child come in at a more advanced level in kindergarten, because your child's teacher is going to work with them at their level. Now you might be saying, but Erin, my child's teacher is not working with them at their level. She or he is not differentiating for my child. Then that's a concern you need to take to that teacher, because that is that teacher's job to differentiate for your child. So you as the parent are your child's advocate. So you do need to contact the teacher in a kind way. Hey, we're on the same team. I would like to know how I can best support my child at home and how you're going to best support my child in the classroom with where they are academically. So it's definitely a question that you need to pose to your child's teacher if you don't see that differentiation happening. It should be happening. It's not always easy to do, especially when teachers are so busy, so bogged down with a lot of requirements, but it is absolutely their job. They love to do it. They're happy to do it. They want every child to excel and to be challenged at their level. So if that's not happening, definitely reach out to your child's teacher. But in general, what I want you to know is that even if your child comes in with these phonics skills or these literacy skills, that they are not going to be sitting bored for an hour and a half, or 2 hours during a literacy block. The next thing I want you to think about on this topic of being too smart for school or being too bored in class is to think about the students who come into school without a strong background in literacy, without the strong literacy skills. Which students are more likely to be acting out, to be bored, or to be frustrated in class? The student who comes in with a strong foundation in literacy, maybe knows their letters and sounds, knows how to write their name, understands a little bit of that alphabetic principle, or the student who comes in with no background in literacy, doesn't know any letters and sounds, doesn't know how to write their name, doesn't understand what's happening in the classroom. There's 20 other students around, they're getting distracted, and they don't know what's going on. Which student is more likely to feel bored and frustrated and potentially act out? In my experience as a teacher, as a parent, as a volunteer, it's the student who comes in lacking the foundational skills for literacy. The students who lack those foundational skills tend to be the ones who are not paying attention, who are acting out, who are causing a little bit more mischief because they're so confused. They do not understand what's going on in the classroom. Whereas the students who come in with a strong background in literacy, who know their letters and sounds, who are able to write their name, they feel confident, they feel proud, they feel excited to show off their skills, and that's what we want all students to feel when they come into a kindergarten classroom. Again, this is not to say that every kindergartner needs to come in fully reading. That is not what this video is about. This video is about that concern that parents have that if their child is learning how to read or is working on those foundational skills at home, that they're going to be too smart for school or bored in school. And I just want you to reframe that. What if your child goes to school without any of those literacy skills? How would that impact their experience in kindergarten? So think about it in those terms and see what feels right for your child. Working on literacy skills at home so that they can go to school and feel confident and proud, or leaving it to the school and the teacher to do all of that teaching and hoping for the best outcome, but not knowing how your child is going to do in school without any of that foundation. It's a personal choice. Every parent has that choice. They can choose what they want to do, but it's just a different way to think about it. Not only am I a teacher, but I am also a mom of 2 kids. My oldest daughter went to kindergarten knowing fully how to read, and my youngest, my son, is in kindergarten this year as of this recording, and he also entered kindergarten knowing how to read. That was a personal choice in our family. For my daughter, she actually was one of those students where she picked up reading very easily. She basically taught herself to read. Once I unlocked the letters and sounds for her, the way her brain works, she was able to put all of the pieces together, see the patterns in words, and she was able to read pretty early with very little instruction. That is not common, that is not typical, but there are some students who are like that. I feel very blessed that she did have that ability because back when she was learning how to read, I didn't have all of my training in the science of reading, and I didn't know how best to teach kids to read. So had I needed to teach her to read, I would have done it in a very ineffective way. So I'm very thankful that she was able to unlock that code for herself. Now, my son, on the other hand, when he was learning how to read, I had already gone through a lot of my trainings in the science of reading, and I knew how best to teach students how to read. And so he was my guinea pig. I was homeschooling him for preschool, and I wanted to teach him to read effectively and correctly based on the science of reading. He was my first test subject, and it worked incredibly well. You could almost say it was magic, but it wasn't magic, it was science, because I followed the steps of how to teach a student to read based on the science of reading, and the results were remarkable. Now, because he could read fully, and now he has entered kindergarten, as I said, he's in kindergarten right now during this recording, I, of course, wondered, how is it going to go? I had my daughter enter kindergarten, and she was reading. My son entered kindergarten, and he was reading, and neither one of them have ever complained about being bored in school because they knew how to read. In fact, my kids both love school, so excited to go. They actually have the same kindergarten teacher. My daughter's teacher is now my son's teacher, who's so engaging, makes everything fun, and is very skilled at differentiating for students who are above grade level, and she's able to challenge them. So I feel very thankful that my students, my kids, are having the experience of feeling confident and proud in kindergarten as opposed to feeling frustrated or struggling because they didn't have that background in reading and in literacy skills. That was a personal choice that my family made. Obviously, as a reading teacher, I'm very passionate about helping your child learn how to read at home. It doesn't have to be before kindergarten, but I think parents play a huge role in setting the foundation before kids go to kindergarten and working with them every day when they're in kindergarten to make sure that every child is learning those important literacy skills. That is what I do here. That is my job. So I'm a little bit biased, but I will say as a parent, it has eased my concerns and I don't have any frustrations in that area, which makes my life a million times easier and a million times better because I don't have that concern. So it's something that was important to me. It was our family's personal choice. I'm very thankful we made that choice, and I'm seeing now the results of all of that hard work in the confidence and excitement of my son when he goes to kindergarten. So those are my thoughts about your child being too bored or too smart for kindergarten. I hope those ideas gave you some new ideas to think about, especially reframing this conversation instead of thinking they're going to be too smart for kindergarten, but to show that when you send your kindergartner to school who feels confident and proud that they are going to have a successful year. Again, if you're not sure what your kindergartner is even supposed to be learning in kindergarten, please head to the link down below and grab this freebie, this Kindergarten Literacy Goals freebie, so you can see all the skills your child is actually going to be working on in kindergarten, which ones maybe you can support at home now, something you want to work on now, or before they head off to school for the first time, so that you know that when you send them, they're going to feel very confident and proud, and they're going to be ready to take on all the other challenges of kindergarten, which again, literacy is only one small piece. There's so many other challenges that they're going to come up against during that important year of school. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below in the comments, or you can find me over on my website, littleslovelearning.com. I love connecting with parents and helping support you as you support your child on their journey to becoming a strong reader. We want to unlock the world of books and knowledge for our kids, and earlier is oftentimes more fun because then they are able to dive into this world of imagination, dive into this world of great picture books, great chapter books and stories. And so it's a really, really special time in your child's life. So if you would like support on that journey, please reach out to me. I would love to help you. I do have a course launching soon as of this recording. It will be launching in a few weeks, and I would love to help support you through that course so that you can teach your child to read and set those strong literacy foundations at home. Until the next video, I hope you have a great day. Bye.